Oh, man, am I glad to see you. Seems like forever since we talked. Does to me. I'm John Zidar, aka the Stock Wizard. This is On Top and Hot, where I like to share hot penny stocks with you. I'm a day trader. I primarily trade options and stocks under $5. And I'm always looking for a hot penny stock to share with you so we can both make some money. Well, I've kinda sorta got one for you. This is ticker NOK, Nokia Corporation, at $7.33. Wait a minute, where does penny stock start? $5 and down? Why are we looking at this? Was it a penny stock this morning? Nope. Yesterday? Nope. Hasn't been a penny stock for a while. What's up with that? Well, I'll tell you folks, the truth is I got excited. Yesterday she came back on my radar. She's been off of it for a couple years. I watched it from 2018 to 2021 and then totally forgot about it. Yesterday, she pops up onto everybody's radar, jumping like 20% because of this deal with Nvidia with $1 billion. Oh, did you hear about that? Oh, and there's a lot more to it than just that. I'm going to share it with you here in just a minute. Well, this company has been around for a long, long time. Depending how old you are, you might remember. Before the smartphone, before the introduction of the iPhone, we all used cellular phones. We used lots of different devices. If you were into music, you had an iPod. If you were into errands and business, you had some sort of Palm Pilot. If you liked to talk, you obviously had a phone where you could talk or send a text. And that was it. You might have had a camera hanging around your neck. I don't know. But then came the iPhone and boom! Talk about disruption. Not just businesses, the world. Boy, that iPhone changed everything, didn't it? And Nokia was making a ton of money on their consumer goods. They were into the cellular business, selling all kinds of phones. Well, they couldn't keep up with this. They didn't just step back, they stepped out. And I don't know of any consumer goods, maybe they've got some, but they've primarily been working with connectivity. They've been working with 4G, 5G, stuff like that. And that's where I came on to them. Now, I knew about them, but I focused on the stock, I think it was in 2018 up to 2021. Now, when I started trading, it was 2018. And I was only trading cannabis up until COVID. I don't know why. I didn't know anything else. So that's what I was trading. So I opened up this penny pot stock page on Facebook, which was real popular back then. I'm not kidding. You had hundreds of people talking every day, thousands of comments. It was just incredible. I couldn't keep up with it. We were having lots of fun over here, but of course there were people who wanted to talk about this stock and that stock. So I created an arena, some side rooms where we could talk about other stocks. And one of those stocks was NOK. Let's see if we can find that room. Now, we're not going to dive into this. Right here, she starts. Let's see if I click this. What do I get? It's been a long time since I've been here. So I went and found this. I think this is 2018. And you can keep going through here, just clicking view more comments. I was doing it the other day. I couldn't find the bottom. It just kept going. It was 3 years. Now, the reason I liked the company back then, well, one, they were making all kinds of money. I mean, they had contracts everywhere. This little Finnish company, right? They're not US, they're from Finland. This little company had contracts with everybody around the world. Everybody wanted their 5G and they were kicking it out everywhere. And I saw that. Lots of contracts, lots of revenues. You know what else I saw? I also saw that they had a lot of lawsuits. Oh my God, folks. The company had so many lawsuits you couldn't keep up with them. But here was the great thing. These weren't just little companies. These were huge companies. Like, look at the A's. They had Amazon, AT&T, Apple. Yeah, they sued all those companies. Because this company, believe it or not, I tried to get you a full number, couldn't find it. We're looking at about 250,000 patents that Nokia has. All of them have time limits on it, and they got to watch all of that. But you know what else they got to watch? For vandals. People using their technology and not paying them for it. Well, everybody was using it. All sorts of people. And they catch up with them and get paid. Apple in 2017 had to pay them $1.7 billion. It was Amazon who was using their technology for video streaming. Had to pay them $163 million. Right? So they get all this extra money from all of these claims, which I thought was excellent income too. You could see that down there as additional revenue. But you know what is really good? The technology that was being stolen was still needed. Amazon, AT&T, Apple, they all needed that technology. There was nothing else out there to replace it yet. So they had to pay for it now. Okay, let's sign a contract. So all of them became customers. Whoa! So not only do you get paid in the back door, you get paid in the front door as well. And that's what the company is doing now. They are working on all of these different connectivity issues. Now, building onto that, you had Nvidia come into the picture. Nvidia and Nokia to pioneer the AI platform for 6G, powering America's return to telecommunications leadership. Nvidia is going to invest $1 billion in Nokia to accelerate the AI RAN innovation and lead transition from 5G to 6G. Now, first off, where do we start here? All right, this is all about getting AI out to every device out there. We don't want mobility to be the problem. If you've got a laptop, if you've got glasses, if you've got a phone, we want AI to get to you out there. Agenta AI that thinks for itself, solves its own problems. We want it connected to everything. That's what they're doing. So you've got Nokia getting Nvidia to help them. But there's more companies involved here, folks. Come down here. Let's start with the very top bullet. Every bullet tells us something. Nvidia and Nokia to establish a strategic partnership to enable accelerated development and deployment of the next generation AI native mobile networks and AI networking infrastructure. Let's get that AI out there everywhere. Nvidia introduces their Arc Aerial RAN computer, a 6G ready telecommunications computing platform, which Nokia is going to use their technology on. So Nokia's got their own technology that they're going to launch onto that platform. But they have got the backing of T-Mobile US to get that out there on the 6G spread out to everything. That's what T-Mobile does, right? They send that information out. So they're on board with this project as well. This collaboration enables new AI services and improved consumer experiences to support explosive growth in mobile AI traffic. Here's the thing, folks. How many of you can remember when the internet was just launching? When it was just started? We had no idea what it was really capable of, did we? We just knew a few things about it. We were trying to grasp what it might be able to do for us and how we could fit it into our lives. We had no idea what it was going to turn into. And I think that's exactly what we're looking at here. And AI is going to get into even more tighter niches. So I think this is going to be very explosive. There's another company on board to make all of this happen. Everybody has their part to play. This can't happen without everybody. Dell Technologies provides PowerEdge servers to power the new AI RAN solution. Now, I don't know what AI RAN totally stands for. I haven't had time to do a deep dive. There's a lot of things involved with this. You're going to have to do some due diligence yourself. This partnership marks a turning point for the industry, paving the way to AI native 6G by taking AI RAN to innovation and commercialization at global scale. We're talking explosion, changing the world, a new paradigm, just like the smartphone. This is going to change things the way we knew them. It's not going to be that way anymore. Now, they tell us down here, growth in the AI traffic has been exploding. For example, almost 50% of ChatGPT's 8 million weekly active users access the site via mobile devices. And its monthly mobile app is downloaded in excess of 40 million times. So we can see that there is a desire for it on mobility. But we knew that. Everything we do. You know how many people I know trade on mobile devices? I don't. I can't. They're too small for me. Not just my fingers, my eyes. I want more information. You can't put enough on that little device for me. So I just don't like it. But a lot of people trade. A lot of people shop. More shopping is done on phones than on computers. Computers are becoming freaking obsolete, for goodness sake. Now, the other thing I want to show you here is that the company has just invested. Where is that number? I think I've lost it. It is, there it is. They have invested $1 billion into Nokia for a subscription price of $6.01 a share. So that's how many shares. I've got the number already set up there. You can see it going on. So the company, Nvidia, has bought this many shares. That's what you get for $1 billion. And they are now one of the biggest supporters, shareholders in Nokia. Now they are hobnobbing with big shareholders, Nvidia, huge company, which is growing. They have T-Mobile there helping them build this. You have Dell there helping them build this. Now for years, Nokia has been doing absolutely wonderful. They keep finding new technologies and incorporating and expanding and growing, but they're not able to get the price of the stock up any higher than where it really has been for quite a while. Kind of like Ford. Before COVID, Ford was just like flat. Even though they were doing great business, they just weren't going anywhere. And me personally, I think it was because of the dividend. It was so regular, you could count on it as a steady stream of income. Nobody wanted to get rid of their Ford shares. There just wasn't anything to buy. So it just stayed there out of comfortability. Then when they started getting into EVs, it started moving around. So, I'm thinking this company has been steady for a long time, but she's ready to rip. And now that she's with Nvidia, working with her as a shareholder, and they're working on bringing AI. Now, what they're doing is building a data center. And the data center is going to be connected to all of us using T-Mobile and Dell. So you've got this big building being built with all of this equipment being purchased and put into it, with all these companies pushing this information out through AI. Folks, I don't think this stock's going to be under $10 for very much longer. So what was the relative volume around NOK today? Well, let's see. Over the last 30 days, she's been doing about 41, 42 million shares, which isn't bad on the New York Stock Exchange. But today, she did 181 million. Kind of curious what she did yesterday. Run over to Yahoo Finance, put in NOK, look up historical data. It'll show you the volume every single day, how much she gets. Bet she did a ton yesterday. Taking a look at the share structure for NOK. Oh no! Holy cow, I had no clue. Look at this, folks. That is 5.6 billion shares. Uh-oh. That is a ton of shares, folks. She isn't even a penny stock, and she's got 5 billion shares. Now, she's going to get popular. She's going to start to run for a few days. She's going to want to get in front of other people who have money. She's going to want to be up at like 35, 40 bucks. I'm just guessing here. I haven't seen anything. This is just what's going through my head. So I'm thinking you're probably looking at least a 1-to-5 reverse stock split here. Look, when I see that many shares on a stock, I'm thinking that they're going to do a reverse stock split unless they're already big and famous, like Exxon. ExxonMobil was so huge, they just had to keep doing forward splits so that people could afford their shares. At some point, you end up in the billions of shares because you did so many forward splits, just keeping your price down. So right now, we're at 5.6 billion. We could see a 1 in 5, a 1 in 10 reverse stock split, take this up to $35, $70, where they would probably want to put this kind of stock in the first place, right? So you may want to consider that. Do you want to get in before or after the reverse stock split? Not that I've read anything about it. I'm just making a big presumption here. Market cap, we're at about 43.5 million. Taking a look at her financials. What's she doing? Bum, 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 bum. She's doing billions of dollars. Now, I know there's lots of companies doing a lot more than that, but you got to remember, we're normally looking at penny stocks. We're a little outside of our range here, but that's the revenues are way out of the range of what we are normally used to seeing. So back in 2021, she was doing $25 billion worth of business. Whew. She has fallen hard. Here at the end of 2024, she went all the way down to 19.9 billion. I know it's a lot of money, but that's a big drop. That's almost $5-6 billion drop. And we lost about $1 billion in profit. I bet you felt that, right? Quarterlies? Yeah, we don't get them. This company from Finland has quarterlies. We just don't get them over here at the OTC markets. Taking a look at the balance sheet and remembering those 3 zeros, Imagine trying to fit all those zeros onto these numbers. Looking at the bank account, at the end of 2024, we had approximately $6.8 billion in the bank. Whew. How many banks do you really need? I mean, do you put that all in one bank, really? Total assets, $40.5 billion in assets. That's one of the biggest numbers I've seen for a penny stock. Liabilities, whoa, we're less than half, about $19 billion. So we have $21 billion in stockholder equity. Equity, folks. Now, one thing that pops into my mind is you take all the shares we just saw, which was a ton of shares, little over 5 billion, and you got a little over 20 billion here in equity. So if you divide all those shares, 5 into 21 billion, you end up with a little over 4. That's one way to figure out the price of the stock. But we've got appreciation value. We got speculation value now. We got the Nvidia factor to factor in. So God only knows what the stock is really worth. But you may want to be watching it, right? That's what I'm thinking. Taking a look at the disclosures. I haven't had a peek over here, so I have no clue what we're going to find. All these 6Ks are kind of like material changes. You can jump in, normally read the top headline here and see what the heck you got going on. I'm not quite sure what we got going on here. It's not even in my language, so I'm going to back out of this one. This one came out on the 28th, yesterday. At least it's in English. This is Nvidia and their $1 billion equity investment into Nokia. Boom! That's a good piece of news. So if you want the details, you just don't want the news, you want the details, jump into that 6K right there. That'll give you the details. We'll just check this last one out here because we got enough. You see where the fire's at. You can smell the smoke. You can see the flames. We really don't need much more. Great. This is in another language anyways. Nope, this is English. As to business technology innovation leader, we are pioneering networks that sense, that think, that act, that leverage our work across a mobile, fixed, and cloud network. In addition, we create value with intellectual property and long-term research, led by the award-winning Nokia Bell Labs, which is celebrating 100 years of innovation. And since they brought it up, did you know that this Finnish company from Finland actually has a subsidiary called Nokia Federal, and it is solely for the purpose of serving our federal government, serving our self-defense department, our Department of Defense, connecting them with telecommunications. So we've got a tight relationship with this company already, and now we are expanding it with AI to get our country to grow fast and furious, and I think it's going to, folks. And taking an overview of the news, I really don't want to dive into this because the catalyst right now is Nvidia. The company's got all kinds of news. They've always had news. I've always been impressed by how much news they have. They're doing business all over the world, consistently, constantly, expanding. So I've always wondered why it wasn't a popular stock. So we have lots of news here. Access on Internet deploys Nokia's AI native Altiplano platform for new FTTH network. Whew, over my head. GBI selects Nokia to build new network for faster, more resilient connectivity across the Middle East. E.ON and Nokia join forces for a 5-year strategic collaboration for telecommunications network modernization for distribution systems. You see what I'm talking about? Here's our $1 billion investment from Nvidia. We've got more news that came out today. Nokia deploys future-ready network architecture to enhance Zayo's leading IP network infrastructure. It just keeps going on and on. I love Nokia, have for a long time. She has needed somebody to launch her. I think Nvidia is that launch. I think she's going to start running now, folks. AI is going to help so many companies, and I think it's going to help Nokia big time. So now would be a great time to consider this company. Of course, you're going to need to do a lot more due diligence, but have fun because it is exciting. You know what else is exciting? The chart. Let's go take a look at it. We're going to chart NOK on TOS, my free trading platform, Think or Swim. We got Nokia opened up to a 1-week, 10-year chart. It is a lot of chart. This is when I was watching it from 2018 to 2021, when she was about $6 trying to break out, though I didn't have any clue what a breakout was back then. But she failed miserably at this breakout attempt, falling from about $6 over the next year roughly to about $2.30. Off of that low bubble, she jumped very fast, telling me she was undervalued, though I didn't know that then. I know that now. She pushed from that low bubble all the way up to that 200 MA, about $5. Then she fell back to around 450, which is about the time I quit watching it. Not for any particular reason, except that COVID hit the world, which changed everything, right? We're now locked down and the market crashed. And when the market crashed, everything crashed with it, and I changed strategies at that point. I quit trading cannabis, even though cannabis quit falling. After 2 years of me being in it, it finally quits falling because it became essential. We could make money off of it, tax revenues for our cities and our towns when all the other businesses were closed down. But I had bigger fish to fry now because all the market had fallen and I was looking at options. I'm thinking, you know what? I don't understand options, but I understand puts and calls. I think now would be a good time to buy calls. And I just went out and bought a whole bunch of calls. And what happened on this side of this line, I started teaching myself how to trade. All this time, folks, over 2 years, almost 3 years of trading, I didn't teach myself how to trade. I just experienced it. I learned a lot here from the School of Hard Knocks, and it cost me a lot of money. On this side, I started learning. That started to make me some money. Let's come on down to the 1 day, 1 year view. So our 52-week low is at $3.91, bouncing off of a rising 200 MA. Looking good. She took a hard fall here. I'm not quite sure why. Going from, about 5.25 down to $4. Off of this, she starts climbing, steady as she goes, crossing every MA, not slowing down, over the 200, grabbing momentum, climbing faster and faster. News comes out from Nvidia. She's going parabolic. Yeah, we had a low of 391. We got a high of 819, which just hit. I do believe that was yesterday. She has pulled back. She is still floating way above that 9-day MA. I would expect to pull back at least to the 9-day because now we're looking for an entry. Right? You don't want to pay too much for this. Even if it's going to rise, you still want to get a pretty decent price. Look at our volume. We had lots of volume here, little tiny bars, green and red, green and red. Then it starts getting bigger right here, starts growing. And then when we get the news about Nvidia and that $1 billion investment, boom, volume just explodes. All of our oscillators going to the moon. Everything is climbing hard and fast. All of our MAs, our moving averages, are going over the 200 MA. All looks like it's ready to climb more to me, but we need to be watching for pullbacks. When you start going parabolic, you got to pull back to get more fuel. Let's take a look at our 20-day 1 hour view. So now we got a low in this corner of 465, high in that corner of 819. That's a beautiful chart, right? Low to high, climbing all the way, had one bounce off of our 200 here, and then she went back to her 50, which is really all she's laying on this entire time until she launched. This changed everything. It's not a smooth climb anymore. We've got volatility in the picture, which is going to keep us guessing. This is nice and easy. You can predict kind of what's going to go on. It's easy to get in, make a purchase here and there. This one's going to be tricky now. All I can say is she really does pay heed to that 50-day MA, the yellow one. The 200 is next to it, but she likes the 50. She's on the 50 right now. I'd be watching for a bounce. All of our oscillators hit hard. Everything is down there hard right now, and it doesn't even look like it's ready to bounce yet. Looks like it's just down there, hit hard. Taking a look at our 5-day, 5-minute, still an uptrend. We're at $5.45 to $8.19. I've got my Fibonacci drawn here. My Fibonacci is a tool that is like supports and resistances, but I don't have to attach them to historical price points. I just use a big run up or a big fall down, and I use my Fibonacci by poking the top of that run or fall and then the bottom of that run or fall. In that order, top to bottom. Because when you go from top to bottom, you get extra lines over the top here. If you do it the other way, they go to the bottom. I don't want them at the bottom. I want them at the top. So these are my supports and resistances now. Even though they're not attached to historical price points, I can trust them to trade on. I can get in over top of one and sell underneath one and know I'm in the right zone. The price is going to respect it. Weird. It's very weird, but that's the way Fibonacci works. It's a magic science that we can't explain, but is guaranteed to work. So I've got everything lined up here. Right now, we are just underneath our 50% mark, which is half of that run. We don't like to see it underneath the 50% mark because normally she falls down to the next strongest, MA, which is what she's done now. So there's a very strong likelihood she could bounce here. We are on the 38% fib, which is what I like to refer to as the launch fib. It likes to push to the 50, which is the launch. The 50 puts it into the positive zone because you go into the green zone. Anything above the 50% and anything in that zone wants to climb naturally. So the launch into the green, you get yourself a climb. So I'd be watching this. Our MAs are over the price's head right now, but they are showing signs of arching and starting to come up. We've got a lot of eyes watching this stock now. We've got money poured into this stock. They're on Nvidia's shirt tails. We got other companies surrounding them like Dell and T-Mobile that are helping out with this, and they're doing other business. There's a lot of other business out there we didn't even really look at. So when you put all that in the same pot, this thing is ready to go, folks. It's ready to stew up and serve up. I'm liking it. I think you need to do some more due diligence on it before you jump into it, though. Right? Remember, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See you, folks.